think I'm going to do that. Hello everyone and welcome to a new theme park list video, and in this video I'm going to be listing theme parks. I'm going to be doing this in a tier list because I can't exactly do a worst to best list. They're quite interchangeable theme parks, it's not the same as roller coasters, so we're going to put them in tiers and I'll show you which I think are my favourite and which I don't like at all. So without further ado, let's get through the tiers. We're going to start at the bottom, shut it down, does what it says on the tin. Nah, I don't mean that, but you know, they're at the bottom for a reason. So then we move on to the forgettable tier, and these will either be parks that I visited a long time ago, so I genuinely don't remember them, or they could be parks that I visited fairly recently, but they are below average, so I don't remember them too much either. So then we move on to the underrated tier, and these parks will generally be on the smaller scale, but I believe some of these are hidden gems and they make really good use of the resources that they do have. Moving up to the most controversial tier of them all, needs TLC. If you don't already know, TLC stands for Tender Loving Care. These parks may have once been up with the greats, but they've pretty much gone into decline, maybe to an extent where more than just an extra bit of theming or an extra ride is needed to help them compete amongst the big guns again. And that brings us up to the Great Atmosphere tier, and if a park is in this tier, I highly recommend visiting. They're almost perfect for the scale and budget that they've got. They may just be a single development away from the world class tier. And then we have the world class tier. The name says it all really. These parks are the pick of the bunch, the cherry on the cake, the crest of the lift hill. So with those tiers out the way, you now understand what each one means. Can I just say that all of those tiers won't always relate to the park. It's generally going to be best at the top, worst at the bottom. I want to keep it interesting, so the categories have different characteristics. But anyway, we'll get into the first park. I've got Alton Towers. In my opinion, this is the best theme park in the UK. It's got a great atmosphere, hence I'm probably going to put it in this. The coaster lineup is very good, but the theming isn't outstanding. There's parts where you're just walking through a forest and you don't see anything, and for that it doesn't immerse you completely because you're still in Alton Towers at the end of the day. It doesn't take you to another world. So Alton Towers is going in the Great Atmosphere tier. Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Blackpool Pleasure Beach has a great atmosphere. Am I going to put it there though? I really do like this park. Icon, in my opinion, is the best coaster in the UK, and it's got a lot of good supporting rides. Revolution, big one, some classic wooden coasters. It's got a really nice atmosphere. Its location is amazing next to the Irish Sea. I think I'm going to put it in great atmosphere again. Now we've got Disneyland Paris. There's some really good bits of theme at this park. Some bits do seem run down though. It's got some great coasters. Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, Indiana Jones et le Temple du Péril is good. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it in great atmosphere again. Now we've got Duinrell. It's got a really nice location in the forest. The top two coasters are of course built by Gerstlauer, and they are good coasters. It's quite a peaceful place. I'm going to put it in underrated. The size it is isn't really going to get it any higher. And now we've got Efteling, which is a really good park. In my opinion, it's quite similar to Alton Towers. I would say some of the rides are a little bit better themed than Alton Towers, but then again, they're not as thrilling, so I think it's very, very close to Alton Towers, so I'm going to have to put it in the Great Atmosphere tier. Next up is Flamingo Land, my home park. So Flamingo Land's got quite a lot of coasters, and some of them are pretty thrilling. You know, you've got Mumbo Jumbo, Kamali, Velocity, and Hero. They have that good theming, but it does have a zoo. Flamingo Land is building a new Intamin inverted coaster. 10 inverting coasters. I can't speak. They are of course building a Rev B Colossus clone, and I'm really excited for that. I think I'm going to put it in underrated. I can't really see Duinrell being any better than this, to be honest. Now we've got Thorpe Park. I think some bits of this park could be improved a lot. It definitely needs TLC. They've not had a new coaster for almost a decade. Obviously there are some really nice areas and there is some good theming at this park. Look at Swarm Island for example. In my personal preference, I think the four parks in the tier above I prefer those to Thorpe Park, so I'm going to put Thorpe Park in needs TLC. Now we've got Nigloland, and this is a park that I absolutely love. Alpina Blitz is a very, very strong main thrill attraction. It's got lots of airtime, it's intense. I went on a quiet day, but this park does have some really good theming. It's just so tidy, really clean. It's got a great atmosphere, and I'm going to put it in the great atmosphere tier. Putting this ahead of Thorpe Park may be controversial, but I genuinely prefer Nigloland to Thorpe Park. Right, Busch Gardens Tampa. What a park this is. Gonna go straight into world class. A lot of great coasters. Montu, Cheetah Hunt, Cumber, Shakera. They've built Tigris and Iron Gwazi since I've visited. There's some really good theming, and the zoo at this park definitely adds something to the park as a whole. It's got a great atmosphere, some nice ambience. Definitely a world class park in my opinion. Now we've got Walt Disney Studios. This is the one in Paris, of course. So this is a separate park to the main Disneyland park. There are some really good rides here. Obviously you've got Tower of Terror, Crush's Coaster, Rock and Roller Coaster. I really liked Rock and Roller Coaster when it was open, but they are doing a massive retheme to Iron Man. When I went, most of this park was literally a construction site. It just felt so incomplete, and because of that I'm going to put it in needs TLC. And I know that they are investing. I'm pretty sure in the next few years they're building like a Frozen land. Obviously Marvel's coming as well because they're retheming Rock and Roller Coaster to Iron Man. So watch this space. I'm quite interested to see what Walt Disney Studios add in the future. Next up is Drayton Manor. I think I visited this park in 2007. Apparently I rode troublesome trucks, according to my mum. Don't remember this park. It's gonna go unforgettable. And Drievliet. I'm sorry, but it's forgettable. It's got Formula X, which is actually a pretty good coaster. They got some alright flat rides here as well, but it feels like it's got the atmosphere of a tacky small park, so that's where it's gonna go. And we've got Europa Park. World class again. The theming here is amazing, how consistent it is. There's so many different areas. I know some people complain a little bit over the ride lineup here. Personally, I think Silver Star is amazing. Blue Fire and Voden aren't so good in my opinion, but there are some good dark rides. Piraten in Batavia is world class. Europa Park, definitely world class park for me. Now we've got Gulliver's. This is Matlock Bath. They had two coasters. One of them was Switchback, and I'm not actually sure who manufactured that, but it was sort of thrilling. I'm pretty sure that's defunct now. This park's built on a hillside, making it really unique. The atmosphere here is really good. It does definitely feel like a family park. There's not really anything there for thrill seekers, but it's got some alright theming, and I'm going to put it in underrated because I genuinely think it's underrated. Now we've got Holiday Park. Obviously they've got a pretty big coaster at this park, Expedition G-Force, my number one, but I don't think the park gets credited enough for the other things it does have. I think Skyscream's amazing as well, and that's actually got some good theming. They are constantly investing in this park. They're building a new area called Vikiland. They recently built an indoor area, but I definitely think it stands above these parks below, so I'm going to put it in needs TLC because I do think they could still do with a few more rides because they've only got 3 coasters. So Holiday Park in needs TLC. Legoland Florida. I'm going to say it straight away. This is the worst park I've ever been to. It feels like they've not even tried to make the most of the Lego thing. But Legoland Florida just has such a cheap, crappy atmosphere, and it's, yeah, the worst park I've been to by a mile. Legoland Windsor. I went here when I was very small, and I don't imagine I'll be going back. But yeah, Legoland Windsor did feel a bit more magical than Legoland Florida. Obviously I visited Legoland Windsor when I was a lot younger. I'm going to put it in forgettable because I don't see it being at the same level as Duinrell in Flamingo Land. Now we've got Lightwater Valley. Oh yeah, I meant to say that. Shut it down. This park is having some real problems. I wouldn't be surprised if they genuinely do shut down. It's a shame though because they've got some really unique coasters. Raptor Attack and the Ultimate they're really good. A lot of this park is literally just empty space. Some of the rides have had to close. To be fair, the entrance area got redone a few years ago, and that was showing signs of improvement, but since then the park's only gone into decline. Next up is Parc Astérix. Osiris straight away is one of my favourite coasters. It's my favourite B&M invert. It's just so fun, so smooth. It's actually got airtime. The first drop's amazing, but the rest of the park does have some good theming, but some of it did feel quite tacky, unfortunately. They're actually planning to build a massive new Intamin launch coaster. I think it's going to be quite similar to Pantheon. at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. There's some really good rides here. Tonnerre de Zeus is another one which I should have mentioned. But you know, they've got Gouderix, Pégase Express. It's a good park, it's got potential, and with the Intamin launch coaster that should be coming soon, that could make it come back up to this up here, because it's really underrated. So much underrated that it should be above these. So I'm going to put it in Needs TLC because it does. Phantasialand. Wow. What a park. Straight away, I'm going to put it up there, and then I'm going to speak about it. They've just opened Fly in Ruchberg, and they've got Taran, Black Mamba, a lot of great coasters at this park. The theming is just so good. The whole Mexico area, deep in Africa, Klugheim and Ruchberg. The theming here is otherworldly. You've definitely got to visit this park. It's really, really good. Now we've got SeaWorld Orlando, and this is an interesting one because its sister park, Busch Gardens, is obviously up there. But SeaWorld Orlando is nowhere near on the same level as Busch Gardens. Obviously they've got three pretty big coasters here, Mako, Kraken, Manta. Not my favourites, but they're really good. Journey to Atlantis is really well themed. When I went, it did seem like there wasn't really that much to do. Obviously it's an aquarium, so you can't expect it to be a pure theme park. But they are showing signs of making investment. Since I visited, they've opened Infinity Falls, and they're opening Icebreaker as well. Needs TLC definitely, because the atmosphere seemed pretty dead. And now we've got Slagharen. It's quite small, but the theming is good. Gold Rush is a pretty good coaster. I liked it a bit less than a lot of other people, but Slagharen is definitely an underrated park. Some pretty cool flat rides there as well. Now we've got Toverland, and this is a park that's been on the up in the last few years. Toverland is a really tidy park, and it has a brilliant lineup with Drievliet, Phoenix, Troy, some really good coasters and some great theming, really nice atmosphere. The music at this park's great as well. Toverland definitely in great atmosphere. With the rate this park's expanding, I could easily see it becoming a world-class park very soon. It's like Energylandia from Wish, basically. That wasn't very funny. Next up is Erlebnis Park Tripsdrill. Just like some of the others, it's very tidy. It's got some really nice theming. It's a very pretty park, and it's got some good coasters as well. They've just opened a new area which contains two Vekomas, Hals Überkopf and Voldampf. Caraco, a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster. That's a really good coaster. You know, this park's got a good lineup, and it's got a great atmosphere. It's going up there for me, just like, oh my god, most of these parks. Next up is Universal's Islands of Adventure. They've got a lot of great coasters here. Hulk, Hagrid's Motorbike, Magical Motorbike. It's got such a long name. They're building Velocicoaster, and that looks to be a world-class coaster, but the theming at this park is so good, it's so immersive. Definitely a world-class park for me. And now we've got its sister park literally right next to it, and that's Universal Studios. I definitely think Islands of Adventure is better. They don't have the same thrilling rides here. They've got Revenge of the Mummy and Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, which are really, really good rides, but they're not the same kind of thrill level as Hulk and Velocicoaster. To be fair, Velocicoaster's not even open yet, so maybe that doesn't count. But there are lots of simulation rides here, and I'm honestly not a fan of that. I'm going to put it in great atmosphere because it does have a great atmosphere. It definitely immerses you into a studios area. It feels like you're in the streets of Manhattan or somewhere. And last but not least is Walibi Holland. This park has a great atmosphere. It's definitely got to go there. Untamed, Lost Gravity, Goliath, the Holy Trinity. Probably the best top three from any park that I've visited. I mean, I've got my Untamed merch here. Supporting coasters, Speed of Sound, Express Platform 13, and there's Condor. It's quite rough. They don't really go to town as much as you would hope with the theming. I visited on a night when they were open until 11. The park's got a great atmosphere. It feels like a really party atmosphere. And yeah, that's about it. So that is the results of the tier list there. And I really hope you have enjoyed watching. I'd love to see what your favourite theme parks are in the comments below. If you want to, you could make a full tier list like this, but some of you value your time, so maybe don't. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.